the feeling of not being treated with the respect or admiration you deserve is a common but seldom voiced frustration among men. It can feel confusing and unfair, leading to the question, what am I doing wrong? The answer often lies not in grand gestures, but in deciphering the subtle, the unspoken language of interaction, particularly during moments of tension. Many men misinterpret a woman's sudden shift to cold, distant, or emotionally charged behavior as irrationality or simple meanness. In reality, this is frequently a pivotal moment, a subconscious test of your fundamental strength as a man. This isn't a premeditated quiz she consciously administers. It's an instinctual probe driven by deep-seated needs for security and leadership. She is, without even realizing it, checking the structural integrity of your character. Is this a man who is anchored and unshakable, or is he easily knocked off balance by emotional turbulence? Your reaction in these moments is the true answer to her unspoken question. The common, instinctive responses, raising your voice, attempting to control her behavior, or reacting with visible frustration, are precisely what she is testing for. These reactions reveal a man who is externally reactive, whose sense of stability is dependent on her acting a certain way. This is perceived as weakness. On the other end of the spectrum is passive acceptance. The man who tolerates disrespectful behavior again and again, hoping it will pass, is making a critical error. He mistakes avoidance of conflict for strength. In reality, his unwillingness to uphold his own boundaries and standards signals a deep neediness. He is afraid that standing up for himself will cause her to leave. This fear is palpable and is the ultimate attraction killer. True strength is demonstrated not by aggression or passivity, but by calm, unwavering self-assurance. It's the ability to remain composed when she cannot. This might look like politely disengaging from a heated argument, calmly calling out disrespect without anger, or simply not being emotionally thrown by her mood swings. You are demonstrating that your emotional state and self-worth are not dictated by her actions. You are a rock, not a reed bending in her wind. When you handle the situation like a champ, you pass the test in the most compelling way possible. She subconsciously registers that you are a man who can handle stress, who won't crumble under pressure, and who can provide a sense of stability. This is incredibly attractive and fosters genuine respect. It transforms her perception of you from just another guy who needs her validation into a man worthy of her admiration. The relationship dynamic shifts because you have proven yourself to be the stronger vessel, capable of navigating stormy seas without sinking. This is the foundational step toward earning the royal treatment, a treatment not demanded, but willingly given to a man who has proven his mettle. The concept of having options is often misunderstood as a cynical numbers game or a need to actively parade other women in front of your partner. This misinterpretation misses the profound psychological truth at its core. When a woman engages in what we've identified as testing behavior, she is not at a deep level, trying to drive you away. Instead, she is seeking crucial data to answer a vital question. Is this man with me because he chooses to be, or because he has to be? Her seemingly difficult behavior is, in essence, a stress test designed to uncover whether your presence in her life is born of desire or desperation. The man with no options is anchored by fear, the fear of being alone, the fear of not finding someone else. This fear makes him predictable, pliable, and ultimately unattractive. He tolerates negativity because the prospect of nothing is, to him, far worse, demonstrating that you have options. Therefore, is fundamentally about projecting an attitude of healthy independence. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your value exists independently of any single relationship. This isn't about explicitly mentioning other people you're dating. In fact, such tactics are often transparent and counterproductive. The demonstration is far more subtle and powerful. It is evidenced by the full life you lead outside of the relationship. It's the commitment to your weekly basketball game with friends, even if she's free. It's the passion for your work or a side project that demands your focus. It's the ability to have a completely fulfilling Saturday without her. Whether that's spent hiking, reading, or tinkering in the garage, these are not distractions. They are proof. They prove that your world is not a barren landscape orbiting her as its sole source of light and energy. Your world is already rich, vibrant, full of gravitational pulls. When her behavior turns negative, the man with options responds differently. He does not immediately panic or resort to pleading. His sense of self isn't crumbling because one person is acting cold. His reaction is measured, almost analytical. He might calmly state a boundary. I care about you, but I don't enjoy being spoken to that way. I'm going to give you some space, and we can talk later when things are calmer. Then he actually disengages. He doesn't hover by his phone, consumed with anxiety. He goes back to his rich, full life. This action speaks volumes more than any argument ever could. It communicates the ultimate truth. My happiness is my responsibility, and I have structured my life in a way that ensures it. You are a wonderful addition to my life, but you are not the source of it. This is the critical shift in power dynamics. The person who is perceived as needing the relationship the least holds the most influence. This isn't about manipulation. It's about the innate human attraction to self-sufficient, confident individuals. By showing you are not afraid to walk away not as a threat, but as a simple, calm consequence of being treated poorly, you flip the entire script. You are no longer the supplicant seeking her approval. You become the prize to be won. Her respect for you skyrockets because you have shown the one thing she was secretly testing for: backbone. The attraction deepens because you have positioned yourself as a man of value who is not easily replaced. She stops seeing you as someone she can take for granted and starts seeing you as someone she could potentially lose. This realization doesn't create fear in her. It creates fervor. It challenges her to bring her best self to the relationship to ensure a man of your caliber remains by choice, not by necessity. The true measure of a man's strength and independence is not tested during the smooth sailing of a relationship, but in the storm of a potential ending. It is in the face of rejection or a breakup that the foundational principles of self-worth are either validated or completely shattered. The instinctive, visceral reaction for most men is one of panic and desperate clinging. The flood of texts, the pleading phone calls, the promises to change these are all manifestations of a single, devastating message. I cannot be happy without you. This display of neediness is the final and most conclusive failure of the tests she may have been subconsciously administering all along. It confirms every suspicion she might have had about your weakness, your lack of options, and the burden of your dependency. In trying to convince her to stay, you are, in fact, giving her all the reasons she needs to leave, the powerful alternative. The path that seems counterintuitive but is psychologically astute is to show her you are totally fine with her decision. This does not mean you are necessarily happy about it or that you don't feel pain. Rather, it is a conscious demonstration of emotional fortitude. It is the calm acceptance that says, I am disappointed, but I respect your choice. I value myself too much to beg for a place in your life. This response is so potent because it completely subverts the expected narrative. She anticipates drama, negotiation, and a validation of her power in the dynamic. When you respond with quiet, dignified acceptance, you refuse to participate in that script. You take away the conflict and, in doing so, remove the emotional fuel that often propels a final breakup forward. This act communicates several undeniable truths simultaneously. First, it shows that your sense of self was never truly built upon her presence. Your identity remains intact. Second, it proves that you meant what your earlier behavior implied, that you indeed have the strength to walk away if the conditions are no longer respectful or loving. You are a man of your word, not just in easy times, but under real pressure. Finally, and most importantly, it forces an unexpected silence. The drama she anticipated evaporates, leaving a vacuum. In that vacuum, her emotions are left to swirl without a target. The anger or frustration that justified the breakup has nothing to push against. This is when doubt creeps in. The absence of your presence, combined with the dignified way you exited, begins to work on her subconscious. The man who begged would be a source of annoyance or pity. The man who accepted her decision with strength becomes a figure of intrigue and often regret. She is left to wonder if she misjudged you, if she let go of someone far stronger and more valuable than she realized. By not fighting, you win the most important battle, the battle for her respect. And from that respect, the possibility of a future reconciliation, on much stronger terms, can sometimes emerge because you have fundamentally changed her perception of who you are. A common and costly misunderstanding many men operate under is the belief that women, particularly in modern relationships, desire ultimate control. This leads to a dynamic where a man either abdicates his leadership, becoming passive and compliant, or engages in a constant, exhausting power struggle for dominance. Both approaches are fundamentally flawed because they misread the innate desire women possess. The truth is, women do not want the burden of being the captain of the ship. They want to be first mate to a competent and confident captain. They are not seeking a man to control. They are seeking a man they can look up to. This is not about being better in a condescending way, but about embodying a sense of purpose and direction that inspires followership, not rebellion. A woman wants to feel she is partnering with a man who is, in essence, a solid investment, someone whose vision and strength enhance her life, allowing her to relax into her femininity rather than feeling compelled to compensate for his lack of masculine drive. This attraction to a man with a mission is primal. When a man's world revolves entirely around his partner, he becomes predictable, small, and ultimately suffocating. His need for her attention becomes a weight. Conversely, a man who is passionately engaged with his own purpose, whether it's building a business, mastering a craft, contributing to his community, or pursuing a physical goal, projects an energy of vitality and self-contained value. He is not idle. He is a force in motion. This is profoundly attractive because it answers the core question of a woman's subconscious evaluation. Can this man provide and protect, not just materially but emotionally and spiritually? Does he have the strength to navigate the world and lead us through challenges? A man chasing a dream demonstrates ambition, competence, and resilience, all key indicators of a high-value partner. His time and attention become a scarce, valuable resource he chooses to share rather than an endless, low-value commodity he desperately gives away. The critical mistake, then, is falling into the trap of what is known as a scarcity mindset. This is the belief that opportunities for connection are rare, and that this one woman is your only chance for happiness. This mindset is the breeding ground for neediness and the root cause of tolerating disrespect. The man with a scarcity mindset sees his partner as the prize, and in doing so, he makes himself the supplicant. He will endure mood swings, dismissive behavior, and a lack of respect because the thought of being alone is terrifying. He abandons his friends, his hobbies, and his goals to orbit her world. But this very act of self-abandonment is what destroys her attraction. By making her the center of your universe, you hand her all the power and paradoxically locally, the heavy burden of being solely responsible for your happiness. This is not a role most women desire. The antidote is to cultivate an abundance mindset. This is the unwavering belief that you are the prize. It's the understanding that your character, your integrity, your ambition, and your capacity to lead a fulfilling life make you a valuable partner. This mindset is built by actively focusing on your own goals and passions. When your life is exciting and full of purpose, you communicate that you are a catch. You signal that you are not waiting for a woman to complete you. You are already whole. A relationship with you is an invitation to join your vibrant journey, not a plea for her to give you a reason to live. This shifts the entire dynamic. She no longer holds power over you. Instead, she is inspired to earn and keep her place by your side. She will treat you better, not out of fear, but out of genuine respect and admiration for the man you are. She doesn't want to lead. She wants to follow a leader she can trust and admire. By being that man, a man with a purpose-driven life, you invite the treatment you truly deserve. The journey of embodying strength and independence is not a one-time achievement, but a continuous practice. Passing a single test of character is significant, but the true integration of these principles is revealed in your ability to bounce back, to remain consistent in your frame even when a woman's tests recur. It is a mistake to believe that once you've demonstrated your strength, the challenges will cease permanently. In fact, a woman may test you again, sometimes even more pointedly, precisely because your initial response was so compelling. She is not being malicious. She is conducting due diligence. Her subconscious is asking, was that a fluke? Is his strength a permanent part of his character, or was it just a momentary performance? This is why your consistency is paramount. Each time you respond with the same calm assurance, the same unwillingness to engage in petty conflict, and the same subtle reminder that your well-being is not in her hands, you are not just repeating a tactic. You are engraving a new identity into the foundation of the relationship. You are proving, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are the unshakable man you appeared to be. A crucial aspect of this bounce-back ability is understanding the power of perception. You do not need to have a line of other women waiting for you to create the psychological effect of having options. The goal is to manage her perception of your value. This is achieved not by overt boasts, but by the undeniable evidence of a life well lived. When you bounce back from a tense moment, not with lingering resentment or neediness, but by immediately re-engaging with your passions and friendships, you send a powerful signal. You show that the emotional turbulence of the relationship is merely one facet of your existence, not the defining force of it. This ability to disengage and return to your center is magnetic. It demonstrates emotional resilience, the capacity to experience a setback without being defined by it. This quality is incredibly attractive because it promises stability for the long term. It tells her that life's inevitable challenges will not break you, and by extension, will not break the sanctuary of your relationship. This entire process fundamentally changes the nature of the game. The conventional approach to dating and relationships is often a tedious exchange of manipulations. And power play is a game that, even if won, leaves both parties exhausted and distrustful. However, when you internalize the principles of strength, purpose, and independence, you change the playing field entirely. You stop being a player trying to score points and become the architect of your own reality. The game ceases to be about deciphering her every mood or tricking her into liking you. Instead, your focus shifts inward to the continuous project of building and maintaining a life so compelling that a woman would be excited to be a part of it. Therefore, the ultimate secret, the master key to transforming your interactions with women, is to refuse to play their game on their terms. But this refusal is not one of passive withdrawal. It is an active, purposeful choice to play a different, more rewarding game altogether, the game of self-mastery. When a woman presents a test, you no longer see it as a threat or a puzzle to be solved for her approval. You see it as an opportunity to reaffirm your own standards to yourself. It is a chance to practice your strength, to demonstrate your independence, and to honor your self-respect. By doing so, you make yourself immune to the manipulations of neediness and the drama of insecurity. You become a man whose value is self-evident and non-negotiable. And in that space of unwavering self-assurance, you will find that women no longer feel the need to test you. Instead, they will feel compelled to join you, to contribute to your world, to offer the respect and admiration that are naturally accorded to a man who has truly mastered the art of bouncing back, not just from a relationship challenge, but to his own core purpose time and time again,